Hi everyone, today we're going to go over the exclusive buyer brokerage agreement. Please note that according to the NAR's litigation, any realtor who wants to show potential properties to their buyer must enter into a buyer brokerage agreement before doing any showings. Today we're doing the exclusive buyer brokerage agreement. I just want to note that when you are selecting the exclusive buyer brokerage agreement, whether you use Transaction Desk or Forum Simplicity or any other platform, you want to make sure you select the exclusive buyer brokerage agreement transaction broker. At Starbay Realty, we always want to make sure we're working as a transaction broker. All right, so for the first line, you'll enter in the name of the parties that you're entering into an agreement with. For a broker, you'll go ahead and put Starbay Realty Corp. The next line will be the term of the agreement. Please note that if this term expires in the middle of a contract, then it will automatically extend until the closing of that contract or if that contract is terminated. So you don't need to make an additional addendum to extend this agreement if it expires in the middle of a contract. It will automatically extend. Number 3 will be the type of property and the location that the consumer is interested in acquiring. This is just a guideline because it does state on here that it could be this or it could be otherwise any other property that is otherwise acceptable to the consumer. Number 4 is the broker's obligations that you should go through with your buyer. And number 5 is the consumer's obligations that you should go through. These are the buyer's obligations to cooperate with the broker. And it does state on here that all negotiations must go through the broker or through an agent that is acting on behalf of the broker. Number 6 is a retainer that you could charge your buyer, and that would be due upon execution of this agreement. Starbay Realty does not mandate a non-refundable retainer fee, so this could be another selling point that our brokerage does not have a retainer fee. Number 7, the main point of this agreement is the compensation agreement. So in here on line A, you will put in either a dollar amount or percentage. It cannot be a range. It has to be either a dollar amount or percentage of the compensation that will be agreed upon. This is what the buyer owes the brokerage. You can try, of course, to get this compensation from the seller or the listing agent. But at the end, according to this agreement, the buyer is ultimately responsible for the compensation. Also important to note that whatever amount is put on here is a maximum amount that the broker is allowed to collect for compensation. So if a seller or listing agent is offering more compensation than what is stated on here, you have to create an addendum and increasing the amount of compensation, and the buyer must sign and initial that. The next part goes into the protection period, conditional termination agreement, and dispute resolution. These terms are all the same in the listing agreement. And number 12 will be the brokerage relationship. At Starbay Realty, we always want to make sure we are acting as a transaction broker. And 13 will be other terms. So if there are other terms that the buyer wants to incorporate into the agreement, you would put that in here. An example might be that the buyer wants to say that the broker will try to have all the compensation that is owed from the buyer be paid by the seller or the listing agent. But if they are unable to do so, they will reduce their compensation amount to X amount, and then the buyer's compensation portion will be fulfilled. There are other terms that you could incorporate in here as well. However, if you're using this section at all and you're putting anything in here, please contact us to make sure that we are still in compliance with the NAR's litigation and the FREC rules. So we just want to make sure any terms that are added on here are still in compliance, because we are not lawyers. We cannot add too much in here. It can just be very simple wording. But yeah, that is the main point of this additional term section. Then the next part, your buyers will sign here, and you, the authorized associate, will sign on behalf of the broker. If the buyer does not want to fill out the buyer brokerage agreement, the exclusive buyer brokerage agreement, you could use another form which is called the property pre-tour agreement. And that is a single sheet which is more for just showing one specific property. That way you are still in compliance with the NAR's litigation, but you don't have a full exclusive buyer brokerage agreement. So if you have any other questions, always reach out. Thanks.